So it's obvious that keeping your carrier happy is one of the major keys to success in this business, because obviously keeping them happy means that they'll stay with you longer. Longevity with your carriers means longevity for your business. So I just want to give you guys a few tips so that once you get your carrier, hopefully these tips will help them stick around a little bit longer. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So first I want to share a personal journey of mine, just because I want to give like one small example real quick of what worked for me in this instance, because I know some people might ask. One of my first carrier, this is when obviously I was new in the dispatching game, and I was honest with him about that, but he decided to go ahead and take a chance on me anyway, even though he didn't agree with paying extra fees, but he didn't have a lot of time. I used all of that information to pretty much like go hard. Like, I gotta really show this guy that he could trust me. I was so nervous in one of the first weeks that we worked together that I fumbled the load because it was such a high number. Like, that it was about almost $10,000 basically. It was an OTR load. I got so nervous to book it because I thought it was gonna be something that he didn't like. I was like just like looking into everything. I wasn't moving fast enough. Now y'all know I say that you gotta move quickly in this industry because loads go fast, especially good ones. So I was calling him asking questions, and he could tell basically I was hesitating instead of moving. We had already agreed on as partners, if you see a load and it's within the parameters that we spoke about, book it. He was one of those carriers that said he was going any and everywhere. So I should have just booked it, but I didn't. And instead, he still went OTR, but we got maybe like $1,500 or so less. So I couldn't find a load comparable to that one. So I had to piece together a few loads, and it was not as good as the first one. You could tell he was pissed, but I could feel it through the phone, and I was kind of nervous because, you know, he already didn't want to deal with dispatchers in the first place. I offered him 50% off. I was like, look, take 50% off of my fees. I know I was supposed to get X amount for this, but cut it in half. Like, I just want to go ahead and just show you how much I value our relationship, and I'm taking full accountability. I should have moved on that load, but that won't happen again. Next time I see a load, it's within the parameters, I'm gonna jump on it. I'm gonna do what we gotta do. I'm basically just trying to explain that building trust from the get-go that's what's crucial. Like, building trust from the get-go, and just letting you guys know that sometimes a small gesture can go a long way. Like, look out for your people. Like, when you're in a partnership with these people, when they give you a chance, like, you really become partners. I really want y'all to not just come into it just for the money. Like, oh, how much money can I get from these carriers? Oh, truckers make X amount of money and I'm finna get a piece. Like, no, like, go into it thinking as a partnership. You're a freight dispatcher and they have the other piece of the puzzle that you need. So we are about to become a team. And I think my carriers can feel that. Also, a lot of you guys don't think about this, but offer some Christmas discounts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just to keep them going, especially if you feel like your relationship is kind of fizzling. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have felt this. Like, you've been working with a carrier and you kind of feel like they're not feeling you no more, or, you know, like they kind of want to go a different way. Bust out with them discounts. Like, be like, hey, yo, we doing a Black Friday deal to show you how much I value our partnership. I'm gonna offer 35% off of the dispatching services this week. Christmas, I'm gonna offer 40% off of dispatching services this week, 15% off, whatever it is, the number you choose. But people love discounts. Small gesture goes a long way. A lot of these carriers, they're small companies, small to mid-sized companies, but a lot of them are small companies that you're calling and that you're going to be working with. Understand their struggles as a small company. They have quite a bit of overhead, which is again why I mentioned the discounts. They got to pay for factoring, they got to pay for equipment, they got to pay for insurance, they got to pay for a dispatcher, they got to pay for fuel. And then fuel costs are rising. They've been rising within the last year. They've been fluctuating, but they've been like a little high. You know what I'm saying? Just be aware of their struggles, and within being aware of their struggles, you can help them find better solutions for them, even if a lot of these things may not be in your scope of expertise as a dispatcher. There's things that you can help with. Like, I asked a large group of carriers, like, what's one thing that you wish that dispatchers would do? And I got a couple of people wishing that dispatchers would help deregulate e-logs. That's a whole different, you know what I'm saying, department. I don't do that, but if you have the time and the wherewithal, you can, or whatever, the mental space, you can learn how to deregulate e-logs. You can learn how to, you know, do all these other things that they may need help with, and including IFTA. You can learn these things, and a lot of the times I say add these on as an extra bonus or an extra added service, or even a separate service from your dispatching. But if you really want to lock in with a carrier for real and be different, do it for free. Like, it's a lot of stuff that a lot of businesses do, you know what I'm saying, like for free, like first time free, or this free service is added into my dispatching services. So that's another tip to help you not only keep your carrier for longer, but also to get a carrier. And it might feel like you're doing a lot, but I mean, you know, some of you guys might be better off working a 9 to 5 if you feel like this is doing a lot. But when you think about it, some of what you're doing at your 9 to 5 is a lot. It's a lot more than it's worth. So doing this for yourself, you know, it's going to be a lot in the beginning, but in my opinion, it's very worth it. So help them understand their small struggles. You know, they might be paying 5% in factoring fees. Tell them about Algo. They be as low as 2%. And I'll link that in the description below. And yes, I do work with Algo. Next thing I wanted to talk about was balancing control and communication. Because I'm gonna be honest, some clients, some carriers, they are really hesitant to let go of control. So I just want to stress the importance of being responsive and actively working and advocating for them. And what I mean about advocating for them, like for example, there have been a couple of times where, you know, how some brokers, you'll book a load and in the rate confirmation, it'll say, oh, you get a deduction for this and this, and it seems like they're trying to deduct for every little fee. There have been times where I have went so hard for my carrier as if this was my business and I was about to get charged that fee. Go hard for them, especially if you know it's not right. There have been many times where there have been just mistakes that have happened. I've been sent emails on accident, and if I would have just sat there and like took it, nothing would have happened. But there have been times where I have gotten brokers to reverse these fees for my carriers. A lot of carriers are hesitant to let go of control because they feel like you may not fight as hard for their business as they would. And honestly, as a business owner, I kind of understand that. So just be proactive, and you know, things like that will make them feel like they can kind of like unclench and like let go, like you got it, you can handle this. And it makes them really believe in you, is basically what I'm saying. So be proactive and communicate is basically what I'm trying to say. Also, initiative is key. This is another thing I want to talk to you guys about. Don't rely on your carriers to guide you through every little thing of something, because honestly, if you're taking on carrier, you need to know what you're doing. Like, a lot of you guys are like, I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and that's perfectly fine. You can, I said this before and I'll say it again, this is an industry you can learn on your own if you have time, and you know, you make sure that you're learning everything. Now, this is an industry where it's some things that you got to learn once you get thrown in there, but you guys should know the basics of how to book a load. You should know what a rate confirmation is. You should know what a bill of lading is. You should know what all of these things are. So some of you guys, you get clients, and this is only based off of stories that I've heard. A lot of you guys will get clients, and then you'll fire them or ghost them because you realize you didn't really know what you was doing for real. So for those of you who are not, you trying to learn this, but you ain't really putting yourself all the way in it, you're not like taking it seriously. A lot of the times people like that are the ones who end up relying on their carriers to walk them through every step. We didn't become dispatchers to have them walking us through our jobs, you know, and it's perfectly fine. You know, there's certain things that you might want to ask your carrier based off of their specific business, but you shouldn't be like, oh, okay, they sent me a bill of lading, where should I send this to? That is what unfortunately a lot of carriers deal with. So for you people who are new in the game, or you've gotten carriers and wonder why it's not working out, a lot of carriers complain that a lot of dispatchers that they've worked with or heard about through friends, they didn't really take initiative. They relied too heavily on them. So you calling a carrier while the carrier don't have a lot of time already, you know what I mean? So you can understand how that can become burdensome. So that's why I stress the importance of get yourself fully trained. Ain't even got to be my trained assist. These are the things that are disconnecting the carrier and dispatcher relationship. Take initiative and do it on your own. And if that means that you got to make sure you watch hundreds of YouTube videos, inform yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get informed. The next thing I want to talk about is just to introduce like some helpful apps, like I spoke about fuel cards and stuff like that. Introduce them maybe to things like Mudflap or NASTC. These are apps that can assist them in keeping their costs low. Things that might help them get discounts, whether it's on fuel or, you know, trucking services or whatever. So just try to find and do your research and find a couple of companies that you can recommend to them that could just offer them some savings as a carrier. And even if they already have this information, I mean, it still looks good because it looks like you're doing your due diligence. You got their back pretty much, and you do, right? These steps have been pretty instrumental in the longevity of my carriers and myself, and it seems like it brought the relationship between myself and some of my carriers a bit closer, especially that first one that I explained to you guys, one of my longest clients. A lot of the times that client would lean on me asking advice. He would just reach out to me like, hey, what do you think we should do this week? What do you think our game plan should be this week? Or, you know, just reaching out to me, asking me for advice. And that alone, I felt like I added value to their team, and I think that's why a lot of my carriers stay with me for so long. I just want to, last but not least, just like wrap it up and bring it into a couple of tips for long-term partnerships. This could include like regular check-in every morning, even if you're on a load and you're going to be gone for 7 days. I like to establish communication boundaries with my carriers. Like, are you one of those people that'll get frustrated if I call and check in on you, or do you prefer a text? Either way though, I'm hitting you up and seeing like if everything is good, how everything is going. I check in with them before booking a load, because I like to book a load a couple of days in advance. So I'll check in with them like, hey, how you feeling about this? I know you said that you'll go anywhere, but sometimes they do change their mind. So this is what I got going on this week. This is the load I'm thinking of booking. This is the direction I'm thinking of sending you in. Those check-ins help me help them, because I need to know and have that peace of mind that I'm doing the right thing. And also I need them to have that peace of mind that I'm looking out for them, which creates, you know, kind of a bond as well, seeing how everything is going. And then also performance reviews. This is a big thing for myself and my people. I like to ask my carriers, hey, I just wanted to see how you felt like I was doing. Like, is there anything that you feel like I could be doing better? Yes, I do ask these questions. It's hard as hell. It's really hard sometimes to hear the areas that you could be doing better in. I think that's for anybody. Performance reviews. Is there anything that I could be doing better? Is there anything that I did this week or this month that you liked and that you think that I should keep doing? And they'll tell you what they need. Lastly, just address their evolving needs. Like, I had a carrier who started out, at first he could only stay within his state. He couldn't really cross state lines for whatever reason. And then later on, when he got everything that he needed, he wanted to go OTR. So at first you had to deal with finding loads within the state, which was quite a bit. But then his needs changed because he wanted to go OTR. He wanted to go everywhere. He did that for about 2 or 3 weeks and decided that he didn't want to do OTR anymore. He wanted to do regional. Regional means you have to stay within your state or the surrounding states that are connected to it. So that's what he wanted to do. He decided that he wanted to be a regional driver because he didn't want to be too far from home. So just, you know, be willing to evolve with them and be willing to change and address their changes, because I do have some carriers who do change their minds quite a bit. But honestly, as a truck driver, as a previous truck driver, I really fully understand that, because sometimes it might be the snow in the Midwest that makes me want to stay on the West Coast, and then during the spring, send me everywhere type thing. So, you know, just be able to address their evolving needs. And those are the tips that I have for you guys about keeping your carrier happy, or just cultivating a relationship of longevity, like being able to keep your carriers on your team for longer. If anybody needs a dispatch training, any dispatching ebooks, I do offer those. Check the link in the description box of this video. If you guys have any questions or anything else that you want me to talk about, leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.